Hello, Tom Stapleton here, Wakefield Community Access Television. We are going to have another show here with the illustrious Betsy SHEERAN, Town Clerk, and she has so much to talk about today. I don't get too much in, but Betsy can really do a good job. So we're counting the time down here, so we'll make sure that we get everything in. But let's start, Betsy, with the ballot. That's something that I'm sure a lot of people need to be refreshed upon.
Yes, we sent out, this is a sample, we sent it out to the printer, they send it back to us to proofread, we'll get it back today. We've cleared it with the Elections Division and at the Secretary of State's office, and with Michelle Tassinari, the legal eagle, as it were, for the Secretary, who's fantastic, by the way. So Rose printed me out a copy so I'd have it here for you today, and we're good to go. Everything's okay. We proofread it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, 3 of us sitting there spelling out every word to make sure every single thing is correct on it. And we're good to go. Once we get the proof back, we'll go over that again and then give it the thumbs up, and it will be printed, and then we'll have it back, you know, within a week or so. We'll have it ready to go. We'll proof it.
Oh.
We'll proof what we sent to them and make sure when they give us a sample ballot, we'll proof that again, you know, and then give them the okay, and then they'll print, and then we'll get them probably within a week or so.
It must be a little trying, because if you miss one thing, it's just, you never hear the end of it, and you have to start all over again. What happens?
You know what it is when you proof something, you assume that you've done it correctly.
Yeah.
You just assume that, so you'll skip over certain things. And we find that in marriage licenses, by the way. I'll get into that in just a second. And but this we go over and over again. We spell out everyone's name, everyone's address, make sure every single thing is proper, because they aren't Smiths or Joneses, you know.
Right.
So it's good to go. I don't know if this will even come up. It probably won't. But this is just a printout of the sample ballot.
Right.
So we'll be good to go, and then the absentee ballots will be sent out. To we have an ombudsman at the Bear Hill Nursing Home, for instance, of Wakefield residents that are there, and at Bath Hall Street, and then there are those who are unable to come and vote in person, so they do that for one of 3 reasons. They're either out of the city, the town, they are disabled and unable to get to the, or for religious reasons, and so those are the people we sent out to. And the state's clamping down on people that just say, oh, I'll get an absentee ballot, I won't bother, you know, to go to the polls. But it is what it is. And then, of course, we had early voting, as you know.
Are we going to do that again?
No, not, well, yeah, we'll do it again, but not this year. We'll do it in 18. And then people can come in, if they are, in fact, going to be away, either on the primary or on Election Day proper, as it were. There's no excuse, because we'll run it for another 2 weeks prior to, you know, each one of those. You
really had quite a response on the early voting, didn't you?
We did. There were approximately 19,000 registered voters. We processed almost 6,000.
Wow.
So, and that's if 100% came out, although it was in the high 80s. That did come out in the presidential, but it was a heck of a time to try it out in the state, in my opinion, you know, where you'd have so many more voting than normal. But we did about more than a third of how many did actually vote. We processed, we had them vote prior to the election itself, you know. So it was good. You know, I talk about proofreading. This is just an aside that I don't have written down for you. When people fill out an application for a marriage certificate, and as I said, not everybody's name's a Smith or Jones or whatever, you know, you have to be careful of the spelling. They have to come in and proof it before, and they just assume that everything they do is right. Well, we don't know some of their background information naturally, and especially if there's a language barrier. So we have a sign-off sheet, a waiver. I have read this, and it is correct, because if it's wrong and we have to change it, it has to go into the state to be amended, and it's a lot more paperwork and more charge to it and everything. So we have people now sign off on it. I said, be very, very careful, go letter by letter. You know, so we have to do that, and it protects them as well, and saves for any extra, you know, work that has to be done, and it doesn't put a damper on the fact that they want a copy of their certificate. But that's just an aside about proofreading. So when I say we go over this letter by letter, we certainly do, you know.
Well, okay, that's pretty much takes care of that. What about census now? Because we're right in the middle of that now,
Yeah.
coming towards the end of it. So.
Well, the end of it was 10 days after it went out, and that
Yeah.
was in January.
Yeah.
But we're still getting it in. But we have, my goal was to have every single thing, because we have to put these into the computer.
Yeah, yeah.
And my goal was to have everything done by the end of February, which we did. Now we're doing them, and we had thousands of them.
Yeah,
We've taken in out of, I forget how many thousands, I think we sent out almost 13,000. We have more than 8,000 all programmed and in and filed, and we have to keep them, hard copy. But in case anybody objects, we have their signed census,
Oh,
so we
yeah,
have
yeah.
to keep that. But not in perpetuity, but certainly until next year. But they went out between January 9th and 16th, and they were due on between the 10th and the 26th, and they're still coming in dribs and drabs. And with them, for the first time, we had, well, we've always had the dog licenses on the
Yeah,
bottom.
that was my next question.
But
yeah,
we
yeah.
added an email address. So we're pumping those out like you can't believe, because we're just, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
emailing your dog license is ready, everything is ready. And I want to thank you for bringing in your information. I'll bring this down to the office and we'll pump this in today.
Okay.
And everything will be done. I have your census and everything. So we're good to go on the census, but
Yeah.
people don't realize how important that is. You know, here's what we hear. I'm not going to fill out the census because I don't want to be called for jury duty. That doesn't exempt
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
If you don't fill out the census for more than 2 years in a row, the state will make you inactive as a voter, right? Not, we don't. But regardless, it also has to do with population and the gerrymandering of
Yeah.
districts within the state, and people don't realize how important it is. And also for grants, for Chapter 70 money, it's so important.
Right,
So you're
yeah.
doing not only yourself a favor by filling it out, you're doing your friends and relatives and neighbors help too, that live in the community that depend upon some of these grants and the Chapter 70 money that goes into the schools and whatever. So it's important to fill out the census, but we've had some great response. We're really
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
there. Some we're never going to get back. We know that. Or some people think they've sent it back.
Yeah, they haven't.
They just,
So you don't follow up with if you don't get it.
we will.
It's up to them.
We are.
Oh,
It
oh.
really is up to them, and you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
babysit.
Right. Yeah.
But there will be constant reminders, constantly, either on the electronic bulletin board that's up in the town. There are 3 of them.
Yeah.
On Facebook, on the town page, anywhere, just to say, hey, if you find it, we don't care that it's late, just get it into us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because we won't print the town book until after June 30th. Or we'll send it out probably in June. It'll be printed in July.
Yeah.
Well, if they don't fill it out, they don't fill it out. There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But people are very responsive about the dogs. Now, the dogs don't kick in until April 1st. Now, I know this show is being, we're filming it on March 27th, Monday. It's not going to show for a few more days, but next Saturday is April 1st. Now, the dog licenses kick in from April 1st to May 31st. So I'm going to do a big push with that.
Yeah.
But we've already licensed. We're into the 600 numbers. We've already done over 500 of them, which is fine. But any dogs that's just been born, you don't have to do that. But
Yeah.
it's a protection for the dogs, because I will send this list over to the police department by number, by dog tag number numerically. And if your dog gets lost and it's picked up, we can at least trace who it is. You know, some people love their dogs more than they love family members. So you know, it's a very important thing. They spend more money on the dogs
Oh my
than they do
God.
on family members. You know that.
I know.
You know.
It's just a
But-
great business to be in.
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful business to be in. But I'll be pushing for the dog
Yeah,
licenses.
yeah.
I'd like to next year have it concurrent January 1st.
Yeah.
You know, to April 1st to May 31st. It's just plunk in the middle. Nobody's thinking about it. You know, we have the election coming up, or, you know, whatever. People are preparing because it's spring and all of the other things, because we're a very busy and mobile society.
You know, and like you said earlier with the census, some people say, well, I'm not going to fill out the dog thing. They don't need to know whether I have a dog or not, and da-da-da-dee and everything like that. The hell with it. I'm not going to do it,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And what are the repercussions of something like that? I mean, it's...
The dog bites somebody, it doesn't have a rabies certificate, we follow up on all the
That's
rabies
right.
certificates.
Yeah,
We get everything up to date. They can fax the rabies certificate in, the vets do, and they do.
Yeah, yeah.
And as I say, we're caught up to date as of when I left the office at 20 past 11 this morning. we're caught right up to this second. Now, some may come in, like yours. Yours will be put in this afternoon as soon as I get back. The mail will come in. We'll get more census forms back, so bit by bit by bit. But the bulk of the census is done. The bulk is done, and I'm very pleased about that. And I've eliminated 3 steps on filing the census, redundant steps. We didn't need to do it, and that's made a big difference. I also had 2 tax write-off people, which is sanctioned by the Board of Selectmen, who were crackerjacks. They were wonderful, and they did a lot of the filing and alphabetizing. I also, we haven't met for a couple of months because of the holidays and everything. The vocational school has a work release type program.
Okay.
So I have a girl every other week, half a day,
yeah.
and the building department takes her the other half of the day. It's a Wakefield girl, which I would want. You know, I don't want somebody from one of the other communities.
Yeah.
I care about Wakefield more. And she's in there, and we have shown her how to do all of the dogs. She did all of the, I have her this week from 8 to 12, Monday through Friday. And it's just working out perfectly.
Yeah, it's a big help.
Oh, are you kidding me?
That's a big help,
Yeah, because it's work that has to be done.
Yeah.
And you can't let it go, because if you let it go, it gets worse and worse and worse, and then you pay the piper afterwards. But at close of business every day, everything is caught up with the census, with the dogs, and with everything else that's in there, the requests for birth certificates, the request for all kinds of documents. Everything's done. So we start tabula rasa at 8 o'clock the next morning, and it's good. It's very good. Even with the Freedom of Information Act, which is a royal pain in the neck, but we're right up to date on that, too.
Campaign report. What's that all about? Tell us a little more about that.
The state requires, Office of Political Finance, requires that candidates, whether they are serving or not, file reports at certain times of the year. Now, the next one coming up is 8 days before the election. So, now the last report was due December 31st. And people, even if they're not serving, have to fill that out. Well, whatever. Or they should have filled it out. Not everyone did. We've followed up, but, you know, again, you can't babysit people. But 8 days, so there was December 31st, the end of the year report, they call it. Then the next one is 8 days before the election. So everyone that's running that's listed in this ballot will fill in their campaign report, financial report, from December 31st, so starting January 1st of 17, right up until April 18th. They can bring it in the 17th. It's no big deal. And get that in line, and I'll be hounding these people for that. But the people that are running were very good about the end of the year report. You have to be. It's OPM. It's other people's money or their own, or a combination of both. The people have donated to their campaign, and the expenditures are there.
Is there a not a guideline, and is there a certain amount that you can donate, and after that, what happens?
Now, out of pocket, out of your own pocket, you can donate, well, anything, all right, anything over $50. So $50.01, your name will be listed.
Okay.
Anything $200 and over, your name and your employer will be listed when you're filling out the campaign funds. Anything $50 and under can be all lump sum together. All right. That's if somebody's paying out of their own particular thing. Out of a campaign fund, from a candidate that may have money sitting there, they can write, and up to, I think it's $100 per person or $200 per person. This is rare. This is rare that happens, and then that keeps everything above board. But names and addresses, anything $50 and above, have to be given. 200 and above, above 50, and above 200, above 200. Employer, who they're working for, address of the employer.
Even though it's a personal thing?
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of people, if say they wanted to give 300, they could have themselves give 100, husband or wife give 100. You know what I mean? If they don't want their name. A lot of people don't want their name there. But if they give 100, it's going to be in there.
What if they want to give 1,000? Is that, does that,
Wow, that would be something,
I
wouldn't
know,
it?
I'm just wondering, you know.
Well, now you get into the federal guidelines
Oh,
and the state guidelines, where you
Yeah.
can only give, you can
Yeah.
give, I think it's 2,600 in a calendar year to anyone running for a
Yeah.
federal office. I forget what it is for state.
Yeah,
I'm more
yeah.
concerned about, you know, the town.
So that makes it a little difficult to do something like that. I mean, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, but people can contribute anything they want to their own campaign.
Oh, okay.
You know, you can
Yeah,
lend your
yeah.
campaign almost anything.
Yeah.
You can repay yourself or,
Oh, okay. So,
you know what I mean,
yeah.
reimburse yourself, or leave it there
Yeah.
for future use. You can donate to a charity out of
Yeah.
it. But, you know, there are guidelines, you know.
Yeah. Now, I know the show is dated and it'll be playing for a while, but now this Wednesday we will have the WC is holding a debate for the
Yes.
selectmen and the school committee.
Yes.
And we have quite a few people coming
Yes.
in out here. So I'm just wondering, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, not that you, I'm not trying to
No, and I'm not going to.
say anything, and I'm not doing that, believe me. It's
No,
just,
I think it'll be interesting because
yeah.
I think you have, now for the selectmen, there are 6 people running for 2 seats.
Yeah,
And
right.
Phyllis Huller's the only incumbent.
Yeah.
For school committee, there are 5 people running for 2 seats. Chris Callanan is the only incumbent because Ann Danahy has chosen not to run.
Okay.
And Pat Glynn has chosen not to run for selectmen.
Right.
And I think among the people running for the Board of Selectmen and among the people running for school committee, you may have different outlooks on how things should be done, how, you know.
Right.
And I think this is the time for people to say it because you'll run it anyway
Oh, yeah,
several
yeah,
times,
we're
you
gonna
know.
do it, sure,
But
yeah.
it will be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We haven't had that many run for selectmen in
it.
a long time,
been,
or for school committee in a long time, that number. So it'll be interesting. And then the only other contested race is constable.
Yeah.
Vote for one, and there are 3 running. The incumbent candidate for re-election, and then 2 gentlemen that are interested,
Yeah.
you know, in serving, you know, which is nice. And I think it's nice to have people get out there. Even, you know, it's an experience whether you win or lose. It's an experience to be out there. You know, I've said that, you know, in the office many times. When people come in, every person has a right to have their name on a ballot.
Right.
You know, positively, absolutely. And I brought up the office just now, and I say it every time, and I can't say it enough. Rosemary Morgan
Right. Right.
and Denise Oates and Adam Pinkney, the administrative liaison that I have quite a few weeks during the year for assistance, are just fantastic. They're wonderful to work with. They're competent. They're good. They get things done. They're on top of things. They take initiative. You know, it's just great.
Well, it does seem like since you've taken over that you're able to get things organized, and you, like you've said in the past, you went through a lot of old records and so on, and organize those, and to make sure that everything looks good. And that's a lot of work. I mean,
it is, but it has to be done.
It has to be done, yeah.
One of the things, a company that we had a contract with wasn't providing us with the service that I thought we deserved. Very slow service. So I don't know whether this was the right thing to do, but I held up payment for 3 months on it, and then we got the service we needed, and then we got paid.
Sometimes that works.
It's the way it goes. You know, if you're going to contract with it, then do it.
Yeah.
So Adam was in charge of that, Adam Pinkney,
Yeah.
and he went after them, you know, with every specific thing that we needed. That was his mission.
Yep.
And we had the gentleman in a couple of times, and we finally got what we wanted, and then that was fine. Pay the bill.
That's how it goes, yeah.
You know.
Let's see. Well, is there anything else that you want to run by us? We've gotten through an awful lot here in a short time.
It is. I just would encourage people to get out and vote.
Yeah.
Instead of not voting and complaining. You know, you want to say, well, what do you want from me? At 10 o'clock, now these are approximate times, at 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and I think 5 o'clock, or it might be 3 and 5, I'm not sure. We get a count on the percentage, the number of people that have voted and the percentage. And it used to go from the town clerk's office up to Steve Mayo, the town administrator, and he'd send it out to us on the Board of Selectmen. But I'm going to put it on Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm going to get it out there and on the town website that as of 10 o'clock, this is the percentage of voters that have come from each specific precinct. And I'll do it again at noon, and then again at 2 or 3, or shortly thereafter. You know, we have to get the things ready to go. But we're good to go. We've got everything ready for it. We'll be testing the equipment. We'll be notifying the people that can come in and test, watch the equipment being tested.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think the public's aware of this, and I'm not sure anyone really would care about it. But when we test the equipment prior to 7 o'clock in the morning, once the police deliver the equipment, the voting machines,
Yeah.
the public can come in and watch that.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure everything's running smoothly, which it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And the IT department is great. Mark O'Malley is the liaison there, Todd Bowden's the liaison. And if anything goes wrong, and I'm hoping nothing will, we'll get through it.
Do you have backups if something goes wrong?
Oh, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, which we had to use during the presidential.
Yeah.
They sensed that something, bang, was done immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
We test the memory cards, we send them out. It's quite
Yeah,
it's interesting and involved,
Yeah,
but it ran smoothly, thank God. With everyone helping, all of the poll workers and the wardens and what have you. We'll get
Yeah.
through it.
Good. I think we've got a few minutes left here. I did want to mention something. I was in the in your office there, where everybody's working, and I happened to see a picture of you sitting inside the safe.
Yes.
On a chair, and you didn't look too. You had all these books to the left and right of you.
I know. Well,
I
I went in, all right? Now,
I said, what's the story?
the safe door usually creaks. I'll give you this story. All right? It usually creaks, so they thought it would creak and I'd hear it, but it didn't creak this time, so they said, what the heck, and they closed it.
With you in it?
Yeah, I was in it. Are you kidding me? No, you closed. Now, the light was on.
Did you do something wrong that day?
I did nothing wrong that day. And I thought, well, this is fine.
Yeah.
But it was like a million miles away. I could hear them outside.
Yeah.
So Rose was the only one with any heart.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I could hear that. Now, I tried to get out, and I couldn't. So I said, well, this is not a good thing, but it's a good test. So anyway, so I hear them click. I can hear the tumbler clicking.
Yeah.
And so I sat down. I just
Sat there.
like this. So anyway, so now I get out, and I said, you know what? Adam, I said, you go back in there. I couldn't go back. I already done it.
Yeah.
I said, Adam, go in there. I'm going to lock you in, see if you can get out. And we did. We locked him in because we're supposed to be able to get out of that thing.
Oh, from inside.
From inside,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
But what I had done with the handle inside, I didn't push it up far enough, so he just went clunk and walked out. Because if not, I was going to have something done so that, God forbid, I ever got put in there again. But they were, it was just.
It was a funny picture.
Oh, it was a beautiful picture. Yeah, it really was. But
happened to get a little picture there. So
yeah, I was just sitting on the
the
ladder.
Yeah.
No chair in there, and mercifully, it wasn't that long.
Well, thankfully, it all worked out well.
It did. There were those that probably wish I was still in there, but there were those that were happy I got out.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I think that should do it for now. I mean, it's always great having you back
Thanks.
here.
It's always great to be back, Tommy.
It's been a couple of months or so.
Well, we had to celebrate our birthdays.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though you're 4 days older than I am. And then we had Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we had storms, and then I had to cancel last week. But this is nice. I wanted to get a lot of the things out there, and I more than appreciate your staff, your volunteers that take the time to get this out, and put it out there. So if there's any questions, I hope they've been answered. If not, they can pick up the phone and call the office, at any time.
Okay.
We're there.
All right.
One last thing, getting back to the ballot. Last Wednesday was the last day Thursday at 5 o'clock, or Wednesday at 5. Wednesday at 5, I guess it was a Thursday. I don't know. My days were confused. I had some situations last week, but to remove your name from the ballot. That's why we couldn't have it printed.
Okay. Yeah.
We have to wait because someone might say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to do it. Then we have to remove the ballot. But that date passed by, so we're ready to rock and roll and get everything done.
Good.
And we'll have them all set to go.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks. Betsy SHEERAN, Town Clerk, bringing us up to date on all these things.
Yeah.
And we look forward to the next show. So.
Yeah, that'll be good. It'll be post-election probably.
That's right. Very good.
I would think, which is April 25th. Don't forget to vote.
That's it. Right. April 25th.
April 25th.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Tommy.
Thanks so much, Betsy.
And thanks, Adam, and thanks everybody that's here.
Take care.
Thank you.